Hello everyone and welcome back to another video this week. I was very doubtful as to whether I was going to get a video even out this week, so I am very proud that this is going out. I've managed to stick to my commitment, which is videos every Sunday. And the topic this week is it's all about the week that I have had. I have had an insane week trying to navigate this path of creating a new business whilst being a full-time mum. And I have gone into overwhelm this week. I have had doubts come up, there's been fear. I've had to manage the balance between my work life, my business, and my commitments to being a mum and my children. I have had to deal with others' opinions and other people's advice. We've also had a holiday, so we're on holiday at the moment. We're back home, or we're back, I don't like to say home because Wales is home now for us, but we're back where me and my husband grew up. So we're seeing lots of family and friends this week. And initially I put out a sort of a little announcement on my Instagram stories saying that I was going to be taking a week off this week. I just didn't want to overload myself with trying to stick to my business commitments whilst visiting family and friends. We've got a really busy schedule on this week. And I was conscious that I didn't want to impact the girls. But as it turns out, which I'll talk about more in this video, I have actually still continued to work and to do things for my business, even though I thought that it was going to be just an impossible task. So more about that later. And I've also been playing around a lot with structure versus flow. Very much about getting that balance right of the masculine and the feminine energies in my business, and when to use each one and how to use them has been coming up a lot. And just belief in general around whether this is possible, whether having a business, and I'm not just talking about like some small, little business that's just a side hustle. I'm talking about, if I'm honest, creating an empire. Like for me, that's what I want to do. I want to create this amazing business that supports and inspires other women and helps them along their journey. And it feels like no mean feat. But at the same time, I want to be this full-time, available, present mother. If you don't know a lot about me, hi, I'm Josephine Snowling, and this is kind of my mission, is to have all the things, to be all the things, to do all the things, and still be a present, available, conscious, loving mother. It's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted to be a mum ever since I was a little girl. Like I always used to play with my dollies and I'd put them to bed and I'd get them dressed. And, it took me a long time to have children because I had a lot of other things going on with my career, and and there was a lot of, I think I was quite scared, could I do this? But as soon as it happened, as soon as I became a mother, I went on this spiritual transformation. I don't know whether you've felt the same as well, but for me, as soon as I had my daughter, my first, my whole life changed. My perspectives changed, my view on things, especially my parenting. If I was to tell you some of the ways in which I wanted to parent before I had children versus what I do now, you'd probably be quite shocked by the difference. But I very quickly learned that, I wanted to be this stay-at-home mom. I wanted to enjoy this experience. And I wanted to parent in a very full-on attachment way. I want my children to feel this secure attachment to me and my husband. And I want them to feel secure in that attachment so that they can build the confidence to go their own way, you know, when the time comes to grow and have that independence that they so want. And so we kind of dived headfirst into co-sleeping. I was able to start breastfeeding, although I had quite a tough journey to get to that point. But we managed it in the end, and that became a massive part of my parenting, you know, mothering, and I just threw myself into this world, and I really fully enjoyed it. But I kind of knew there was always this part of me that wanted to have something else as well, something that was just for me. And I always knew when I was working in my corporate job before I had children that it wasn't the right environment for me. I knew I always wanted to create something myself. I had so many ideas and big ideas that I knew I had to set up my own business at some point. And I tried for a long time to create different businesses, but something just didn't stick with them. And I thought it was all because, you know, maybe I just wasn't being consistent enough, or maybe I just wasn't, maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe I wasn't supposed to start a business. But a few years later, a few years ago, I had my second child, and I just couldn't ignore this pull anymore. And I was starting to almost resent my parenting because I felt I was kind of stuck in this place where I either had to make this decision of go back to work and put my children into childcare and move away from the parenting that I so desperately wanted to do. I just didn't feel that I had the option to have both. And then I kind of got like thinking one day, and I was like, you know, I started following a lot of law of attraction, like YouTube channels, and really getting into like a lot of Abraham Hicks stuff. And it really inspired me to say, actually, I can create my own reality. You know, there are countless people in this world that have done things that aren't the norm, that are outside of what our current reality is portraying to us. And this was where I started to get the belief that I can build this. I don't have to put my children into full-time childcare in order for me to create a business that I love and that, you know, that does bring in lots of abundance and does support people and is all the things I want it to be. And so I dived headfirst into creating it, and something felt right about it this time. Something felt like I was on the right path. And so this is, you know, if you're new to my channel, this is basically what my channel is about. My channel is part of my business, and my business is to support these women, these empowering women who are just amazing. You know, they are the cycle breakers. They want to change the way in which we're parenting and showing up for our children. They want to be conscious of the way that they are parenting. They want to be gentle and loving, and they want to deal with those big emotions and support their children through that. And they want to celebrate their child's own uniqueness and know that they are fully and completely loved no matter what. And these women are so dedicated to this cause that the problem I find, and I have been in this position myself, this was me at the start of my parenting journey when I had my first child, was I was so dedicated to this path. I was so motivated by changing the way in which I was brought up and breaking that cycle, that a lot of other things in my life sort of got forgotten about. You know, my relationship with my husband, my career, my career aspirations, even kind of my spiritual path, although motherhood became a spiritual path, a lot of the other sort of things that I really wanted to try and to explore sort of got put on the back burner, really. And what I found was that this approach of solely focusing on my parenting and nothing else was actually leading me down this slippery path of resentment towards my children, even though it had, it's not their fault at all. Because I started to see motherhood, I started to become a victim of motherhood and a victim of being a stay-at-home mum, and feeling like I couldn't do all of these other things, have all these other things in my life, and still parent in the way that I wanted to. I believed that I had to pick one or the other. And so it all started with my relationship. So I've got lots of videos on my channel about how our relationship literally went from the verge of divorce to this amazing relationship that is constantly changing and expanding. And me and my husband have never been in such an amazing place with it. And that is really where the journey began for me. And I started to think, okay, well, if I can do this with my relationship, then I can do this with all the other areas of my life. I just have to start applying the same principles. And so this is my current project, is to create my own business and to support those women who are in that position as well, who know kind of deep down that it is possible to have all of these things, but just don't quite know how to navigate themselves along that path. And through my own experiences and my journey, I want to support them to navigate this journey, because I want to see these women empowered. I want to see them having it all and still being the mothers that they truly want to be. So that's a bit of background on my business and this kind of empire that I'm wanting to create. I want to create a community and a tribe of women who empower each other and support each other, because I think the problem that we have in society at the moment is that society is not set up to support mothers in this way. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it just means that if this is the way that we want to do things as mothers, then we as a group of women need to start making that change. We need to start changing society and saying, actually, no, we want it to be set up in a way that supports us to do all of this, where we're not feeling like we're forced into a situation where we have to decide between, our children and our careers. And I think things have started to go that way, but I think there's still a lot of work to be done. And we need to be the change makers. We need to be the change that we want to see, and we have to start living that out in our own lives and inspiring others to do that. So what has been coming up for me this week? So, doubt. In a nutshell, doubt has been one of the big things that has been coming up for me. So I've been trying to focus in on who is my target audience? Who am I really trying to target with this? Because initially I kind of fell into that trap of trying to target everyone. I was like, every mother needs to hear this and should know this, and I want to help every mother in the world. Realised that's not really possible. And it's not even when I really think about it, it's not even really something I want to do, because my experience is very specific, and not everybody parents in the way that I parent, and not everybody wants to to necessarily have a career and be a stay-at-home mum. Some people are just happy to be a stay-at-home mum, and that is what really lights them up, and that's great. But for me, I want to have a business, something that's for me, something that really utilizes a lot of the skills that I don't use in motherhood, and obviously still be around and available for my children. So I've been really trying to think about if I could create a community and a tribe of women, like who are those women that I'm trying to serve? And oh, there's so much advice out there. Like if you go on YouTube, like it's amazing. I always think that we are so blessed to be in this day and age where there is so much information available to us. You know, a click of a button, we can kind of find out anything we want. But the problem that comes with that is there's so much information that it's so easy to get overwhelmed by it all. And I think that's kind of what's been happening to me this week, has been that there's so many different ways I could approach this that you almost have too much choice, and then you're like, where do I go? You know, what if I go down this path and it's not right? Or I could try this one, and it just seems like there's just so many different options that you're almost fearful of like taking the wrong one, and then you have to restart and you have to, you know, go down another path. And so doubt has played a big role in my life this week. And the other thing that I've been noticing as well is that a lot of the advice out there, especially business advice, tends to come from two different sources. So they're either women who don't have children, which, you know, it doesn't mean don't take that advice, because a lot of these women are very skilled in business and very successful, and they have a lot of really good information to share. But the problem is you can sort of view that information and it feels so far removed from your own life and your own reality when you have children that it becomes really difficult to take on board what they're saying. And it also then starts to build in, the doubt creeps in around, can I actually do this? Can I create this business? If I've got children, is it possible? And the other people that I find is they are mothers, but, they've very much gone down that route of using, full-time childcare and support to run their businesses. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just finding that way that you want to do it. And so I've been struggling to kind of find inspiration of others, being successful in business and being, full-time, very, full-on kind of attachment parents, especially with young children. If you've got older children, I think it becomes that bit easier. But, my children are 4 and 18 months. So, there are certain challenges that come with that. And, what I've been realizing this week, and the advice I've been having to give myself, and the advice that I would give you if you are kind of just starting in this journey as well, and you're exploring other people's advice, is try and find the core advice that they are giving. Try and find the core meaning, and then use that kind of nugget of information and apply it to your circumstances, because their lives are completely different. If they haven't got children, there will be lots of different things that they can do that you can't. But equally, you can start tapping into things that you have available to you, being a full-time mum, that those individuals might not have. The different inspiration that you're going to be getting, the different experience that you're going to be getting being a mother. Use that as part of your business, and use that to fuel your creativity. And I think get real about where you are, get real about where you are in your life, and know that you don't have 8 hours a day to commit to your business. So how can you do it? This is the thing. And some of the signs that I've been kind of recognizing that have been coming up for me, that have been really helping to push me along on this journey, are, knowing that this is, so when that doubt creeps up, can I do this? Should I be doing this? Is this the right thing for me? Some of the signs that have kind of come up that have really helped me to anchor in, yes, this is right. Yes, I can do this, is the fact that I can't leave it alone. So as I was sort of alluding to at the start of this video, even though we've gone on holiday and I've said, right, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to put it down. Like, I have not been able to do that. And not because I feel pressured into doing it or feel like I should be doing it, but because I don't want to leave it alone. It's something that is lighting up my world. It's something that's enhancing my parenting. It's making me a better mother. I'm using skills that I haven't used for a long time. I'm, being forced into being creative in different ways. And it gives me a buzz after I've done it. And then I go back with my girls and spend time with them. And I'm just like on this high with them. And they're benefiting from it as well. So that has been a really good indicator for me that, this is something to continue with. Another thing is kind of being honest with yourself, that quiet inner knowing, in those quiet moments, like when you're putting your children to bed and, you're in the room and it's dark and, it's silent, they've just fallen asleep, those quiet little moments that you have to yourself where deep down that this is the path for you, that this is the right thing. And it's just going to take some trial and error to figure out how to do it. And another big motivation for me is I want to be this change and I want to role model this change for my children. Even more so because I have 2 girls, but it doesn't matter, to be that change and to role model that you can have whatever it is you want in your life if you have belief that you can do it. And if you step up and do it and actually be that person. And that is what I want to show my children. That is what I want to show my girls, because I want them to do that in their life. And I've realized in my parenting journey that, telling them one thing and then doing something different, these kids are smart. And unless they see you doing that and being that thing, then they kind of just brush it off. So I know I have to step up for them as well as for myself. So if you're in this kind of position yourself and the doubt is creeping in, just try and tap in, to really ask yourself, is this the right thing? Because it might be that you're being told this isn't the right thing. Not necessarily about creating your own business, but maybe the idea is wrong. Look, where is the idea coming from? Is it coming out of a fear of needing more money? Or, what is the driving force for the creation of your business? Look at, what is driving you to set this up and create it? Because if it's coming from the wrong place, then there's a good chance it might be the wrong thing. And it might be that you just haven't quite tapped into, what it is that you really are aligned with. Because, like I say, I have tried to set up numerous businesses. Just to give you an idea. So I was going to set up a bubble tea business. I was going to set up a food truck business. I had the idea I wanted to create this really cool rock cafe, and this whole kind of this live music experience and everything, and I have had loads of different ideas along the way, and all of them could have been successful, with the right time and effort and all of that kind of thing, but they just weren't right. And as soon as I approached my business with this real, sort of deep exploration of what it was that I wanted to put out into the world, what was it that I had to communicate to people and tell people, that was when I found I just couldn't leave it alone. I just kept tinkering constantly. So when I was putting my little one to bed, I would breastfeed her to bed, to sleep. And, whilst I was sort of, she was dozing off and I was waiting for her to go off to sleep, I'd be on my phone on Canva, creating my Instagram posts and creating my logos for my business. And my thumbnails for my YouTube channel, everything you kind of see. So a lot of my thumbnails, a lot of the descriptions for my videos are all made on my phone whilst I'm breastfeeding my child to sleep. because I just can't leave it alone. I just keep tinkering with it. So if you're getting that pull, then see that as a really good sign. And if you're not, don't worry, because it's also a sign to maybe question, am I doing the right thing? Am I looking at this from the right place? So another big thing that's been coming up for me, and I think will continue to come up for me for the rest of probably my life, is the balance. The balance of the amount of time that I put into my business versus the amount of time I put into my mothering. And let me just tell you, this is trial and error. I don't think there is one formula that fits all. Now, I can certainly give from my experience the things that have worked for me, but everybody is in a completely unique situation. And the biggest thing that I've taken away from this week is to be gentle on myself, because there's going to be weeks where I get it horribly wrong. It does not make me a bad mother. It does not make me a rubbish entrepreneur and businesswoman. It just makes me human. And the only way that I am going to learn to create that balance is to try things out. And so keep trying. If you have a week where it messes up, don't worry. Learn from it and know, okay, that didn't work. But now I know that that doesn't work for my situation, so I can try something different. And when it does work, look back and see like what did work, what allowed you to get that balance right. And let me just tell you that like creativity is your best friend, because in order to have this lifestyle, in order to be this full-time mum and have a business, you have to be bloody creative, okay? Let's just get honest about it. You have to think outside the box. You can't do things in standard ways. You can't just run a business 9 till 5, and be a full-time mum. It doesn't work. So you have to start finding pockets of time and, getting really imaginative about the two kind of worlds that you're trying to navigate and kind of trying to merge. And what I've been finding for me is when I try and do the two together, at the moment I struggle. So if I'm sort of trying to come up with ideas for my business, ideas for my channel, for my Instagram, whilst I'm with my girls, I'm very distracted from them and they get really irritated with that. And then I get a lot of guilt, and it's just not a fun place because I don't feel like I'm giving enough commitment to one thing or another. I just feel like I'm all over the place. So for me, what's been really useful has been finding pockets of time throughout my day, and they're not big chunks. This has been a big thing for me. So going from working in the corporate world where I had 9 to 5 to do all of this stuff, I'm learning that I'm having to do things in half an hour chunks, maybe an hour chunk, and lots of little bits. And I'm getting very good at, all mothers are amazing at multitasking, but this kind of gets you to multitask on another level, and it gets you to like emotionally and mentally multitask on another level, because it's about being able to transition yourself from, right, I'm in kind of business mode to now I'm in mum mode, and learning like how to shift from those sort of different roles and those different characters almost that you're playing. And so it's been trying to look at my week, look at my days, like when am I wasting time. So what's been a really interesting thing for me is since I've started my business, and it's been this real kind of soul-led business thing that I feel really aligned with, like I don't binge watch Netflix anymore. I go on social media, but it's more I go on there because I'm sort of trying to look at like, oh, how have they done that? Like, do I like that style, and would I use that for my business? And I have gained so much time back, because all these little pockets of time where I was, kind of just wasting, scrolling through, social media, or, just sat, binge watching something, are now filled with time that I work on my business. So start to look at where you can kind of pull those, even 5 minutes. You'd be amazed what you can actually do in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes you can, or in my circumstances, I can come up with a title for my YouTube video. I can, I could even write a list of 5 different reels that I might want to create that week. And then can you see how like my week then starts to structure? So at the start of the week, I can find these like 5-minute little pockets where I can start to build up all these things that I want to do. And, it's just trial and error. You just need to find your way through what works for you, and be honest with your kids about it. Like, with my eldest, I tell her that Mummy is trying to create a business. Like, Mummy wants to do this for herself because it's something I really enjoy, but I want to be about for you as well. I want to have time to play with you and to connect in with you. So help me work through this. Tell me when are you struggling? Tell me when Mummy's ignoring you or she's not being present. Like, jolt me into that reality and let me know. And it's lovely because it feels like we're kind of navigating this together. Get them involved in that sense. Tell them how important this is to you, and invite them along for that journey, basically. So balance is going to be met through being creative, thinking outside the box, and trying new things. Be gentle on yourself. You're not going to get it right every time. It's just not going to happen. But with time, you will start to get it right more often. And, I suppose I've talked a little bit about time off. That was kind of another thing that came up, It's so nice when you find that aligned business idea and approach, because for the first time in my life, I don't feel like I need time off from this. Like, this isn't work as I used to know it, where like I'd be counting down the days to getting time off and having holiday. This is something that like my soul is wanting to do and needs to do. And so I don't want to break from it because it's empowering me. It's giving me energy. It's giving me energy to be that better mother. So, that's another really good indicator, I think, that you're on the right path. And then structure versus flow. Like, this is, an interesting one that, so I created a video last week a little bit about this, all about how to kind of step into that feminine energy in your business. So I'll link to that video here if you're interested to find out a bit more about my thoughts around using the feminine energy in business. Because for me, this was one of the things I wanted to do really differently with my business. When I was working in my corporate job, my energy was very much in the masculine. It was a lot of push. It was a lot of hustle. It was lots of structure and strategy. And there is nothing wrong with that at all. But for me personally, I like to operate in the feminine energy more. Yes, I need to use my masculine energy as well. We both, everybody needs both. And you can't really have something without the both. But it's learning, again, the balance of like when you use that feminine energy and when you use that masculine energy. And one of the things that I've been kind of finding is that instead of leading from the masculine, I've been actually leading from the feminine, which I know sounds backwards because the masculine like leads and the feminine sort of energy follows or flows. But what I've been sort of finding is that I use my intuition and the ideas that come to me are what then inform the structure. So what I'm enjoying creating, what I'm enjoying putting out there, like how I'm enjoying communicating with others, that is what is then informing my masculine structure to support more of that, to allow that flow to be more consistent. So that's kind of what I'm leaning into a lot at the moment with my business, is allowing that feminine energy to sort of take the lead, or maybe I don't want to use the word lead because it kind of feels like it's the masculine, but that feminine energy to be the driver, like the thing that comes first, and then the masculine's like forming around it to support it and to protect it, kind of thing. So I do have schedules. I do have times that I have to schedule in for when I record my videos, for when I do need that little bit of childcare, you know, when I need my husband just to look after the girls for an hour so I can go and film a video. But the feminine is then, you know, that structure is set up so that the feminine can then sort of flow and do its thing in that structured time. And another thing that I really wanted with my business was I wanted ease. And I think if you want a business and to be a full-time mum, you have to start moving away from this idea that in order to have a successful, abundant business that you really enjoy, that you have to hustle and you have to do a lot of hard work to do it. Because if you have that belief, then that's the kind of business you're going to create and you're going to be burnt out. And I keep creeping down that path of, you know, I'll find myself like, oh my God, I've given myself so much work to do this week. And I, you know, it's just left over from when I was kind of in that corporate environment. But if I want to create a business from ease, then I have to keep starting from that place. So like with my YouTube videos, for example, I went down this whole like rabbit hole of I need to edit my videos, I need to make them all choppy, and I need to make them really, you know, quirky, and I have to spend hours editing them. I don't have hours at the moment to sit and edit my videos, and I don't currently have the budget to employ somebody else to do that for me. So I have to find the easy route, which is that I don't edit my videos. You know, I have to show up to the recording of my videos confidently and speak what's in my head. And I enjoy that as well because I feel like I'm really utilizing my feminine energy with that. You know, I have a kind of loose structure of a script, so to speak, you know, the topics, the things that I want to cover in my videos, but then I really let that like feminine energy flow. I let come out what wants to come out when I record these videos. And it makes it easier because, you know, I might be recording for an hour and that's it. It's then done. And I'm still achieving what I want to achieve. You know, I mean, I don't know, maybe later on I will decide that I want to you know, pay somebody to edit them, or maybe even edit them myself. But at the moment, that does not feel like the easiest option. So that's not the option that I'm choosing. You know, the option I'm choosing is the easiest. Not because I'm lazy, not because, you know, I'm not committed, but because this business will work as long as I show up with the right energy for it. And one of my things is to have a business that is created with ease. So I need to operate it with ease. So, you know, have a think about like, how do you want your business to run? Like, do you want to be like hustling? Like some people really enjoy that. Some people really enjoy the adrenaline that brings. You know, do you want to have like deadlines and timelines that kind of, you know, give you that like, you know, that rush? Or do you want to kind of, you know, sort of float along with it a bit more so? You know, everyone's different, but I think thinking about that helps you to approach it differently. And it also helps you when you do watch others, you know, give their advice, because you can start to sort of say, well, if I applied their strategy, would that allow me to have ease? You know, would it allow me to have flow? And if it wouldn't, it kind of helps you to decide whether it's, you know, something you want to take on board and try or not, basically. So, you know, I would really recommend, you know, thinking how you want your business to be, because ultimately that kind of determines how you sort of parent around it as well. and how you can sort of merge the two. And I'm going to wrap the video up. I'm going to start wrapping it up now because it's gone on quite a long time, but I'm really hoping that this has given you lots of things to relate to and inspire you on your own journey. But I just want to finish it off with the power of belief. Like, this is the big thing. If you don't have the belief that it is possible to have a business, create this thriving, abundant business and still be a full-time, available, present mother, then I'm really sorry to say you're never going to have it. Because unless you believe it is possible, then you're going to put your own blocks in the way. You're going to be your own worst enemy, effectively. You need to believe that it is possible, because as soon as you have belief, so I found this with my relationship, and again, I will link these videos in the description below, because this was a big thing with my relationship. As soon as I had that belief that I could have the relationship I wanted and still co-sleep and breastfeed and be this like full-on, mum, it started to happen. The blocks started to disappear because I believed in my soul that I was able to have a romantic, passionate, connected relationship and still have young children, still be available, not put them into childcare, all of those kinds of things. And as soon as I started to believe that, the things that originally I thought were an issue, time, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough the right headspace for all of that kind of stuff. It just started to melt away. And the same thing will happen with your business. Now, for some people, it might be easier to kind of push through those limiting beliefs than, others. Like in my relationship, I found it was a lot easier to push through those barriers. I'm struggling a little bit more in my business to push through those, but I know that if I have that belief and I keep that belief, that is the thing that is going to get me the reality that I want, okay? So you have to decide that that's what you want. You have to decide that you can have it. And then you have to follow the inspired action and the inspired inspiration that's going to take you to having that, okay? And just because you don't know anyone that's done this, just because you don't see anyone online that's done this, it doesn't mean it's not possible. There's people that have, created amazing things in this world and nobody ever thought it was possible. We're not talking like impossible feats here, but I know that feeling that you might be feeling right now where it feels completely impossible. Like it feels like you're asking, gravity to stop or something. But it is completely doable. Like people have done this in their lives. So know that you can do it. If you want it and you believe in it enough, then you will achieve it, okay? And, create your own reality. You are the creator of your own reality. You need to step out of the victimhood that motherhood brings. Just because you're a mother and you've chosen that path, and the only limits that you have in life are the ones you place on yourself, okay? And it's exactly the same in motherhood. Don't let we live in a this male hierarchy and all this, it's rubbish. If you want it, you can have it. None of that matters, okay? I know it's really hard when you're in that kind of, that place of doubt, but you just have to step into the belief, step into your own empowerment, okay? And concentrate on being in alignment, concentrate on raising your vibration, do the things that you love, do the things that light you up, that make you happy, that make you joyful, that bring you gratitude. Because when you're in that place, and if that is like being with your kids and that's how you get it, then do that, because that's when the inspired action comes. Like that is for me when it has all come, when I've been in that really happy place, and then I'll suddenly be like, oh, I could do this. Like that would save me loads of time. Or, this is a pocket of time that I didn't realize existed. Now I have this available. I could try this new approach, and it might be really successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is when it's going to come, okay? Stay in that place of belief and alignment with it, okay? And, create the reality that you want. You can have this. You can have whatever it is that you want in your life. So I hope this video has just given you that extra boost to continue on your journey, wherever you are in your journey with creating your business and being a full-time mum. Like, overwhelm is just going to be something that happens, but don't fear it, embrace it, because you're going to learn so much from it. And let me know. I'm really interested to know where you're at in your journey, and are you experiencing any of these kind of issues? Like, which one that I've covered today, which are you most struggling with? What is that thing that just keeps popping up? Like, is it the balance, like, between your work and your mum responsibilities? Like, is it the belief? Is that the thing that you keep, like, struggling with? Let's start a conversation around it. And I truly believe that if you're courageous enough to pop those comments below, those comments could be the very thing that inspires somebody on their journey. Like, I don't know how many times I've looked in comments on other people's YouTube videos, and I've read something that like somebody's takeaway from that video that just makes me go, that's it, that's what I need to do, or has inspired me to create something or do something else. So let me know, what are your takeaways, and what are you struggling with? And if you're enjoying this content, then I appreciate the love towards it. Give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. I release new videos every Sunday, and the topics will all be around having it all, being it all, doing it all, and still being that present, available, conscious mother in the process, not sacrificing it. And how do you achieve that? So have a look in the description box below, because I'll put some links there to my videos all around relationships and how you can start to rebuild your connection and your intimacy in your relationship when you parent in a very attached style. And especially if you've got young children or a young baby, I've got quite a few videos around that. And I will see you in next week's video. So take care, have a lovely day, whatever it is you are doing, and I will see you soon. Bye.